Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Ketubot page 56, which discusses the ruling that a ksuba must be 200 zuz. That is the bare minimum amount that a husband has to write for his wife. But it's questionable if he wrote this, can she also write as part of a receipt, possibly in the ksuba, I actually already accepted 100 zuz, $100. And even if it's not the case, by doing that, all he now has to do is pay the balance at some point. The question is that something which is acceptable when it comes to a ksuba? Now, the whole notion of a ksuba is there's a dispute whether or not it is a rabbinical law or a biblical law. Now, when it comes to rabbinical laws, you would think we're pretty lenient. When it comes to biblical laws, maybe we're pretty strict. But interestingly enough, as we've discussed previously, there is actually an opposite way of thinking. Because when it comes to a rabbinic law, a person may be more lax in doing it and not take it as seriously. So the sages actually place chizuk, they strengthen it, even more than biblical laws where a person is more prone to take those laws more seriously. And therefore, maybe when it comes to a ksuba, the law is, because it's rabbinic in nature, we're very strict and we want to make sure that it's followed exactly, and you can't do any of these loopholes. However, when it comes to a biblical law, let's say, for example, when it comes to an actual marriage, which a person says, Hari Mukadeshetli, that I wish for you to be married to me, but on condition that I'm not going to provide the typical things that a man provides for his wife, Sher Ksusona. I'm not going to provide the clothing. I'm not going to provide all the other items, food. So there's an opinion that says it works. Now, why would you be able to do that if you're going against this biblical concept? And the answer is because when it comes to biblical laws, people are typically very strict. And therefore, we don't have to make any leniencies when it comes to you making conditions. We can say, okay, fine, you made a condition, it works. However, the condition linked to a ksuba, which is rabbinic, that we are going to be more strict with. Now, that also is only the situation where it is common. A ksuba is something which takes place all the time. Everyone has a ksuba. So something which is frequent, so we do have to be concerned. However, as the Talmud says, when it comes to other things which are not frequent, a milsa de lo shchicha, in that situation, the rabbis are not going to be extra strict. And this idea can also, of course, be applied to ourselves. When it comes to you being extremely strict about certain things, the question is, what do you take very seriously, and what things in nature typically do you just not take very seriously? So when it comes to the biggest things in your life, the top priorities, so those things, because you would take them so seriously, so you don't really need to focus on them as much. When it comes to things where you could maybe be more lax and not so considered so important, those are the things that you have to really strengthen in order to make sure that they're done properly. However, you only have to really worry about things that are shchiach in your life, things that happen all the time. You shouldn't concern yourself and consume in your mind all the worries of things that will probably never ever happen. Things which are not shchiach, those are things you shouldn't ever concern yourself with, and don't worry about them.